What does Plato's Allegory of the Cave tell us about how we recognize things?
Plato's allegory implies that people identify objects using their senses. If we see a large animal that has sharp claws, we'll think that it's dangerous, even though it might be friendly. If we smell something that's unpleasant, we won't eat it, even if it might be healthy. The people in the cave thought that the shadows were scary, even though they didn't know what they were. We decide something is bad or good based on our opinions, not knowledge. How is it possible that people can believe in illusions and accept it as reality?
The situation would be possible if this is all someone ever knew. The entire thing takes place over a really long period of time. Even in the beginning, it states that they spent their entire lives inside the cave. At a young age, we practically learn everything about our world that is of current knowledge, but these people had no such education. Their entire education was based on the cave and everything that was in the cave. They were chained up so they couldn't really move far, but there wasn't much else other than the shadows of basically puppets or dolls that were like behind them. The fire didn't give them much light either, so they weren't able to see very much other than these shadows, which they regarded as practically everything in their lives. What sometimes happens to people when the illusion is shattered and reality is revealed?
Sometimes there's disappointment because the illusion is so beautiful that when it is ruined by our reality, our disappointment kicks in immediately. But otherwise, some people accept it because they were locked away for their whole life. Describe other caves in modern life in which people might be imprisoned or feel imprisoned.
There are many caves in modern life. Today's caves, such as unrealistic television roles, religion, social status, locus of control, or psychological disorders, can distort reality and leave a person feeling trapped or lost. In a way, I'd say that like a lot of psychological disorders that we have that exist in the modern world do sort of limit an individual and their experiences and their perception of reality. I guess another one would be also like certain relationships where people feel like they don't necessarily know anything outside of what they're involved in. I guess when you're given a situation with someone and then you don't have a perception of reality and what's true to that specific moment or to the outside world, I guess that's another cave-like situation. In society today, or in your own life, what sorts of things shackle the mind?
Well, in the Allegory of the Cave, the prisoners are shackled, and in today's society, there's many different examples of people being shackled, but mainly one that is that could really represent everything in general is the media. Media shackles the mind, and people often tend to try and fall in line to what the media is telling them. And it gives people in our society a model of what they have to follow. Like you said, on television, people see these near perfect people and they just want to be like them, but they don't realize that it's really not everything is like that in life. So media, it draws people in and they focus on only what they're being told. It doesn't allow them to think for themselves, and in a sense they're shackled. And many times they only see what the media spits out. So to add on to this idea of being shackled, people often also fall to conformity and just do what everyone else does, so they don't get viewed. So they don't really view anything from their own perspective, and they just look at everything from a point of a social norm. So, what is the real truth of the Allegory of the Cave?
The real truth, Plato describes that truth comes from both observation and thought. The people in the cave have never seen what shadows are. They don't know that they're bad or good. And once they saw that they were just light emitted from objects, they determined that it wasn't really something to be feared. When the first prisoner left the cave, he saw a whole different world, one that was completely much better than the world inside the cave. He saw that basically he was living a lie. He knew once he went outside that his world is basically just shadows casted at the side of a cave.